Welcome back to the All About You podcast. Have you ever heard of EFT, the Emotional Freedom Technique? This is what I will be discussing with today's guest, Caroline Dubois, who is a psychotherapist and also a teacher of EFT, and that is what we are going to be exploring in this conversation. Caroline, welcome to the podcast.
Hi Sheila, I'm so glad to be here with you.
Caroline, I am a huge fan of EFT, so I am so excited that we are going to be talking about this morning. Now, firstly, a lot of people have got no idea what EFT is. Can you begin by just explaining what EFT is?
So EFT is an energy technique that has to do with energy. Nowadays we say that even our thoughts have energy, our body, we have energy or not. It's between the energy and psychology, meaning we are going to work on psychology, i.e. a problem, I have a fear, and then we are using energy to make this fear disappear. It's a mixture of energy, and it's on meridians. You know, in acupuncture we have meridians. There are 14 of them. And then we are tapping with the fingers lightly on these meridians while we are addressing the psychology. So this is why EFT is part of something which is called energy psychology.
That's right, because EFT is also called tapping.
Yes.
And a lot of people may know tapping, but they're not aware it's EFT or Emotional Freedom Technique. So Caroline, where did you first come across EFT?
I came across EFT in London. I was training in NLP, and it was the master training. And then the trainer said, oh, if you have a new method or something that you want to share with the others, you're just welcome to do that. And there was this Scottish guy that told us about EFT. I received a A4 piece of paper that I took home with me. Then I went to the website of the creator, but that was before 2000, the year 1999. That's where I met EFT, and then I started to use with my clients. And I thought, it's quicker than hypnosis. So, because I was trained as hypnotherapist as well. So this is why I got really interested in EFT. Because hypnosis at the time, maybe not now, but like 25 years ago, people were afraid that I would have power over them if they are hypnotized or in a trance. Whereas when they do the tapping, they do it themselves, mirroring me, because I'm showing them where to do the tapping. Even if by the end of the tapping they are more relaxed, so in a different conscious state, but they don't feel that, like when they are laying down and then they have closed their eyes. So EFT for me was like more easy to sell to my clients as a method, because they would come for hypnosis and they would tell me, but I'm afraid, blah blah blah. So okay, let's try tapping. So I would explain to them energy psychology, and then we would try, and more often than not it was just working so well.
So let's actually talk about what EFT stroke tapping. I think tapping is a good name for it, because that's exactly what you do, you tap.
Yes.
So let's talk about these meridian points and how we actually tap on those points. Let's talk about that.
What do I do? Because I'm so automatic while I'm doing it. On the top of my head I put my hand, but here at the beginning of my eyebrow I use 2 fingers. There on the side of the eyes it's 2 fingers, 2 fingers, 2 fingers. And just all the points under the eye, under the nose, under the mouth, just under the
collarbone.
Thank you. 2 or 3 fingers. Under the arm, 2 or 3 fingers. Under the breast, just alignment here.
Now, I came across tapping quite some years ago.
Right.
And at home, I've got my original little tapping chart. 2 fingers start at the top of the head, yes, and then between the eyebrow, underneath the eye, either side.
eye on the side of the eye.
On the side of the
and
eye.
Then underneath.
Then under the eye.
Under the nose.
Under the nose.
Under the mouth, just where there is
Yeah,
like...
the groove between your lip and your chin.
Under the collarbone. For women it's easier because that's where the
bra strap is at
exactly.
the side.
And then just here in alignment of the breast, the
breastbone.
middle of the breast, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's mostly where we tap now. At the beginning there were some points on the hand also, but the side of the hand
like
to
the
start
karate
with.
chop,
Yeah.
I think it was called.
Yes, exactly. That's to start. I always start there. But in the middle, after one round on the body, we would tap the fingers, and then he said it's not that important, so I left it out also.
Okay, so that's physically how we do the tapping.
Yes.
But then we have the setup. So I think if we sort of go back a bit, people use tapping for various reasons.
Right.
Sometimes somebody is nervous,
Yes.
they may be in pain,
Yes.
there are 1,001 reasons.
All the problems that people have in life.
Exactly,
You
anxiety.
can always address them with tapping. So I was talking about fear before. So I would ask the person, how big is your fear on a scale of 0 to 10? So then we can measure after the tapping. We start, I'm 8, fear. So we do one round of tapping. Where are you now? I'm 7 or I'm 3, depending on the problem, depending on the person. Then we can really measure. And then at some point we are 0. The person doesn't have fear for that anymore. So that's how we address one problem.
So basically, somebody will come to you and maybe they are anxious about the forthcoming exam, a driving test, something like that. It doesn't always have to be something major.
Exactly. It can be from small to big.
Yeah.
When it's big, then I divide in smaller chunk, and then I address each chunk. Yeah.
Imagine somebody's coming to you, they've got an exam coming up.
Right.
And they're worried about it, they're nervous, apprehensive. We've identified, I've got this very important exam coming up and I'm just feeling so anxious, I don't think I'm going to function well in the exam. So the first thing, we've identified what the issue is.
Yes.
How are you feeling about that on a scale of sort of 1 to 10?
Yes.
So we start off, that person is saying 8.
Yes.
We then do this round of tapping, and basically you are just sitting opposite the practitioner,
Exactly.
fully clothed, no lying down, it's not invasive, you don't need to buy any equipment, and this is the beauty of it. And then you work through, so each one of these tapping on the points as you have described, we call a round.
Yes.
So you've done the round, okay, you started at an 8, how do you feel now? I feel a little bit better, maybe 6.5, 7.
Then I ask, what specifically are you afraid now? Because you said in the beginning, I won't be able to function. And now they say, yeah, but I see in the eyes of the people they are judging me. Okay, that's an aspect, a different aspect. I won't be able to function. Oh, people are judging me. Then every time they tell me something different because we are addressing each aspect of the problem. And that's how we go for any problem, is that there are always specific thoughts about it.
So you're really peeling back the onion.
Exactly.
Somebody has started off, I'm anxious about the exam, and then, well, also I'm worried about people judging me, and then it could be, if I don't get the exam results I want, I won't be able to go to the university I want or the job I want, and it can escalate. And as you peel back the onion,
yes,
more of these concerns come up.
And it can be also that when the person says to me, when I see the way they look at me, this judgment, and it might be, and I'm asking, and what does that remind you of at the end of the round? So they're more relaxed. And then maybe it's another event in the childhood where they were in front of the class and the teacher said something bad, or the other children laughed at the person. So then I treat that event. And often than not, it's really going much lower than after that, because it's attached to an older event.
That is so interesting, isn't it? We're talking about maybe somebody 18, 19 years old, but having done a couple of rounds, you're peeling back that onion, and the underlying thing is when they were at school at maybe the age of 7 years old, they stood up in class to read and somebody laughed at them, or they didn't perform particularly well, and that has come back to haunt them as an adult sitting this exam.
But it's unconscious, so that's what I love about the tapping, because it really bring all the things unconscious to the consciousness.
Yeah,
so
bring it to the surface.
We are conscious of it, and that's what I love about EFT, because before this energy method, it was like psychoanalysis, and it was already the conscience of it. But still, people were still anxious, even though they were aware of why they were anxious. And that's what I love about tapping, because we really can make this anxiety go away 100%.
The thing I personally like about tapping is if you're in a stressful situation, and I quite particularly like the karate chop, where you get the edges of your hand and you can sort of just chop them together, or you can actually massage them together, or even massage one hand, and that still works.
Yes.
You are not sitting in a meeting and everyone's looking at you because you're tapping your head underneath the eye. No. You are just seen as you're rubbing the side of your hand.
And you can do the same with all the points.
Exactly.
So you just look like you are rubbing a little bit your cheek or there, and then there, but then it looks normal. It doesn't look like... And you know that for my personal life, sometimes I've been tapping in the tube in Paris because I was going to have some treatment or something. 2 people reacted. One asked me if it was a spiritual method, and I don't remember. But I'm not afraid of people judging me. Well, so I've done sometime tapping in the street without doing the rubbing, but in a more like with clients. I don't know why it has happened that maybe once or twice that the client was draining my energy. I was falling asleep. I started to really massage my points while I was listening to this person. So yes, and I think she didn't realize that I was just, especially if it was the first time that the person came.
Beauty I see of EFT is it is incredibly powerful. It is something so simple to learn.
Yes.
I mean, there's some fantastic people on YouTube.
Yes.
One that springs to mind is Dr. Brad, and he will have particular themes, and he will have a tap-in. Can we talk about what you actually say when you're doing the tap-in? We've got the setup. Can we talk about that,
yes.
Caroline?
So in the setup, we are saying what the problem is, and then because many people have got like an unconscious resistance to get better, so we say, even though we have this problem, and then we address the resistance, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And I say to my clients, even if you don't believe it, just say it, because it really helps the treatment. And then what I say is the words that the person has described, what her problem was or his problem was. So I take notes while the person is talking, because I'm a visual and I need to write. But then I just tap with what they just told me before. And then they say, oh, it's exactly that. But yes, it was exactly their words I'm using. And then by the end of the different rounds I'm doing, instead of talking about the problem, I'm talking, why am I feeling better? And what if this problem was never going to appear again? So I'm tapping positive questions that, or even, I'm feeling so completely calm with this now. I really can talk in front of the public really easily. Why is that so easy? So that's the end. And then before that, I always take what the person tells me. sometimes I ask the question, what does that remind you of? And then we might jump into an old event. Then we are going to tap on all the details of the event, because it's like a energetic memory frozen in our sort of personal space. So when the person tells me all the details, that they see themselves completely frozen, so I tap off all what they say, and then I say, okay, if you see the event now, what happens? And they say, oh, I'm happy now. I don't care what they say in the class. It's okay. So that means we've done it. And I have an example with my son lately. He said, Mom, I really would like to work on my powerlessness. Okay. And especially when I have a fight with my girlfriend, I cannot react. I cannot be in my power. Okay, so we do the tapping, and then I always say, I'm asking my unconscious mind or to tell me what the message you have for me. And then suddenly he says, Mom, do you remember I was bitten by a dog when I was 4 in my face? There was a hole in his cheek. We had to go to the doctor too. But then his power, he became powerless. And then this memory was still there. And then I said, okay, now if you imagine, so we treated the attack. Imagine you fight with your girlfriend again. What's happening now? He says, oh, I'm okay. I can react now.
I mean, that's incredible, isn't it? How
he's 35 and it happened when he was 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he started off with one issue. He felt powerless. But then, peeling back that onion, that was going back. That's something that happened many, many years ago when he was very young.
And it has nothing to do with an argument between two people. It was when he was attacked by that dog.
I mean, this is so interesting because the tapping is working on the energy points of the body.
Yes.
But it's the vocabulary you are using to identify why you're feeling depressed, anxious, worried, upset, etc. And then going through those rounds of tapping, keep asking questions to see what else is going to come up. And then gradually you will get through, okay, well actually this relates to something that happened many, many years ago.
Right. So I forgot to say that when we tap the points physically, that means the energy is flowing. And before that, the energy was not flowing. So on one side, we are making the energy flowing with the words of the problem. And this is what the combination does. And this energy flowing with addressing the words and the problem makes really, it's like it has disappeared completely.
The thing with tapping, in a very short period of time, and we are talking in one session, once somebody has had a session with a professional like you give them the tools that they can repeat this.
Absolutely.
Anytime, any place. You know, you're at work, just a few minutes.
Exactly.
You don't actually have to say the words out loud. You can say them into your mind. So you can go into a cubicle, say them to yourself in the mind, do the tapping, and you can reduce that considerably. Nobody's any the wiser. And again, you're in a meeting, you're thinking about something, you're feeling anxious, you know, you're massaging those points.
And you can also do the massaging each side of the fingers.
I haven't heard of that one.
Oh yes, it does work very well.
Wow.
So it's like you press each side of each finger with the other one, and that does the same.
I mean, this is such a powerful technique. Why doesn't everybody know about it? This is what I can never understand.
It's much more popular now than it was when it was created in, I think, 86 or something. And I've heard about it in 98. But now it's much more popular than it was. But it's true because, as you say, it's something that you can do with a professional. But then afterwards you can really do it for yourself, for your life, every day. My health is not perfect, but then every morning I say, I'm going to have a wonderful day. And I'm doing that in the tapping. Even though it's difficult for now, I'm going to have a great day. Why am I having such a great day? Fabulous day. And I feel so much joy. And then the fact that doing the affirmation with the tapping, it's just wonderful. Then I have a wonderful day.
So Caroline, how do these energy points get blocked in the first place?
I think it's this thing about the psychology and the energy, because these negative thoughts create blocks. Negative thoughts, we all have 60,000 thoughts a day. That's enormous. Can you imagine? So part of them are very negative. And if you had a very sort of traumatic beginning of life, it's even more difficult, even more blocked. So we have to address so many different things to make that go away. But for the average person, that is not, we all sort of have traumas, but there are some that are more important or have affected us more. But then you can use it really like so some people do, push-ups. You can do push-ups and you can do EFT, because first one gives you the physical, the second one the emotional. And your question was why? It's just how the human works. It's just when it has too much negative thoughts, it blocks the energy. So this is why some people, when they are very depressed, they don't have energy, because their thoughts are so negative that it affects the whole thing.
Interesting thing about EFT is somebody can come and have a session with a professional such as yourself, but you can also teach this online. You don't even have to be in the same room with somebody, which is fantastic. So this is a complementary system that you can even do online.
Yes, because teaching, but also with my clients now, because I live in a different country than my country of origin. And so when they want to have a session, I say, well, I don't live there anymore, so we can do. And no, it's no problem. And even with some people that don't know me, apart from they know me from reputation, but we haven't met physically, they are okay to do it online.
So let's talk about some of the issues that people will come to you for EFT for. Mm-hmm. We've talked about somebody having a stressful time with an exam coming up. That's very important. Mm-hmm. What other types of issues do people come to you for?
I had a lot of people having phobias. The most common one was plane phobia.
People frightened of flying?
Yeah.
Okay.
They are phobic about it.
Yeah.
And I remember one lady, even looking in the sky and seeing a plane would trigger her fear. And what's amazing is that the fear is a metaphor of a problem. I'm going to explain a different plane phobia. A lady comes and she says, I have this plane phobia. So I says, at which moment do you start to feel the fear? Is it when you're going towards the plane, when you are sitting down, at what point? And she says, it's when the door closes. Okay, what does that remind you of? And it reminds me when I hated to stay at my parents, and I married the first guy, and it was our honeymoon. We were on the plane and the door closed, and it was like I closed myself to the wrong person just to get away from my parents. That's one. This lady, that every time she was looking at plane, she got really. So I said, at when did it start? And she said, I think it's more or less when I asked that, she had a godfather that died. And then when I say, one point do you start to feel the fear? And she says, when we start to climb and when I don't see the horizon anymore. So we tap on that, and the thing is, losing the horizon, it had to do something with losing her godfather. Another lady, it was when she was sitting down, she see all the heads of the people, and she felt like completely shocked, or there was no space to breathe. And then she made a parallel. She says, yes, I have all these files on my desk and I feel completely overwhelmed by that. So the overwhelming of the people on the plane were to do with overwhelmed with things in her working life. People had different, it was never, I think I had one lady that had problem because she had a difficult flight. No, the other ones, about 10, none of them had to do with the plane. It had to do with a metaphor. Something that they were not aware of. This lady that it was the loss of her godfather, the loss of her nanny, the loss of her cat, all those losses. By losing the horizon, this like stability, it's like made it unconsciously so horrible for her.
This is so fascinating, isn't it? That in theory, a fear of flying is the issue. But when you actually peel back that onion, no. It's exactly. Just a symbolic. This is what it reminds me of, and this is what's given me the anxiety or the fear.
And another one which was amazing, she came to see me maybe maximum 5 times. But so I said, at what point do you start to feel the fear? And she says, I feel my finger like on the handle of the seat, and like my feet wanting to go into the carpet. And then what does that remind you of? Her mothers tried to abort her. That's what it came back to. First she was seeing flames, and she was seeing, because these images come up. So we were tapping on these physical thing. And then she told me, yes, it's my mother, because they had built a house. They had 2 daughters, and I was like an accident, so they didn't have enough bedrooms. And so my mother was driving on paved street she was told so, and that's what it reminded her of. But how can, she was in the womb. She was not even a human yet, she was just in the womb. Then we tap on that. And it's already done, but it's not finished. So she's coming back the following week. And then the following week she says, oh, it's terrible. My daughter went to study in England and she became pregnant. So for her, it was like horrible. Her daughter was going to have an abortion. And she came to me because of this fear of flying and this abortion that was tried on her. So it complicated the things a little bit. But it was perfect, because at the end she was able to fly on her own. She was a nurse and she needed to go to do some volunteering work in Morocco. So it went away. She sent me a text message when in Morocco, and she says my flight was fine.
This is incredible. The power of just tapping. You're doing it on yourself. No equipment. You don't need to remove your clothing. You don't need to lie on a bed, shut your eyes.
You don't need medication.
Absolutely. And you can do this on yourself anytime, any place, and nobody's any the wiser.
Yeah.
So you are self-soothing and calming yourself from that issue.
And so I guess it's quicker with a person like me, because I'm a practitioner, I have experience, so I know which avenue to go. But even by yourself, it's just persistence. If you persist into the tapping, even though you haven't got all my training, you can tap. But if you tap every day, all the time, it will go away. So whatever the problem.
This is such an amazing system, isn't it? EFT, emotional freedom technique. I just don't feel everybody knows about it. When I knew I was doing this podcast with you, I was saying to my friends, do you know what EFT is? No. Is that a brand of something? No. Okay. Do you know what emotional freedom technique is? No. What's that? I am still surprised that something so incredible that can make a huge difference is not known by absolutely everywhere. And I think if we can have what I call something in our toolkit that we can do on ourselves, and yes, you can come to a practitioner like you who knows what questions to ask to identify what the issue is. Once that's done and you get used to, there's a chart you can follow with the tapping points, you show people how to do it, they can do that for themselves. in all different situations.
Yes. And also, if you're a mom with your kids, you can do it also. That's wonderful because, when they're afraid to go to sleep and then you just tap, or the day they had at school, or it's just wonderful. It works very well with the children.
I mean, Caroline, I am so happy that we have had this discussion. I think EFT is one of the best things I have ever come across because I understand the power, I understand how simple it is to use, and the benefit is just amazing.
Yes, true.
It really
Very true.
is. So, Caroline, where can people get in touch with you? So you are living here in Valencia.
Yes.
But you do work online as well.
Exactly.
So where can people get in touch with you?
So I have a YouTube channel, and I have two. One that I have sold, which has much more, but it's all in French, many videos. And then I have one that I did 8 years ago, and I think it's called Caroline Dubois New. And then there they can find my email address because now I'm retired officially, so I don't have a website anymore. So they can find my email address on this YouTube channel or on Facebook, Caroline Dubois as well. So,
well, I will include all the links to this podcast, and seriously, to everybody listening to our conversation, please do look into EFT, because watch a video. It is something to put in your toolbox that really can make a huge difference to your life. Even if it's, you've got an important meeting coming up, or you've got a stressful situation in your personal life, you can help yourself with tapping.
Yeah,
you don't need to be an expert.
No.
It is just so powerful, and it's free. You don't need to go. Fantastic if you do have, and I would recommend somebody has a couple of sessions with a professional.
Yeah, there are books, but I think you can find some PDF online because the creator in the beginning wanted to be free for the world, but then complicated. But then I'm sure you still can find. But there are many good books about EFT. And so many videos on YouTube, as you said, of people that either they do a tapping session on something, or you can learn with them how to do it.
And I think to learn how to do it on yourself, and it is not difficult.
No.
You can get the tapping script and you can fill in the blanks with whatever your issue is at that time. And of course that's going to change. This week you're anxious about a forthcoming video call. Right. Next week it could be you've had an argument with your boss. Still using the script, just change the vocabulary. You're going to do the same thing, and then you just write, I know I can do this. You don't need special equipment to go anywhere. It's just so valuable. Caroline, thank you so much for taking us through the world of EFT.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to share it.
Well, thank you for listening, and wow, what a brilliant conversation. I'm a huge advocate for EFT. So please do look at the information, check out the links with Caroline, check out a YouTube video. It really is something for everybody to have in your toolbox. Use it on yourself, use it with your family and friends. You will be amazed. So thank you for listening. Please subscribe for future episodes on whatever platform you are listening on, and please share this podcast with people that you would like to share this EFT technique with. And if you have a story to tell, please contact me on allaboutyoupodcast@yahoo.com.